The stars above Carrion 5 burned cold and distant, scattered like shards of glass across the black void. The barren planet below stretched endlessly, a land of jagged rocks and dusty plains. No trees grew here and no rivers flowed. Yet it was here, on this remote, unremarkable world, that the fate of countless lives would be decided. Fleet Commander Rawl stood at the edge of the landing platform, his eyes fixed on the transport shuttle descending through the thin gray atmosphere. The message that had summoned him here repeated in his mind. Only the human mechanic repaired this armor. At first he had thought it was a joke. Engineers and mechanics from dozens of allied worlds had tried and failed to restore the armor of his elite soldiers. Each attempt had ended in frustration and delay. And now the message claimed that a human had done what no one else could. The shuttle landed with a muted hiss of compressed air. Its hull was scratched and worn, clearly a vessel that had seen long years of service. The ramp lowered and out stepped a young woman. She moved with calm assurance, her overalls streaked with grease and dirt. Her tools hung at her belt and her hands were rough but steady. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical braid, and her eyes, sharp and observant, scanned the platform as if she were already planning her next move. "Commander Rawl," she said quietly, her voice steady but not commanding. "Lyra, I was told to meet you here." Rawl blinked, slightly taken aback. There was no pomp, no badge, no grand introduction. Just a mechanic, yet something in her stance made him pause. She carried herself not with arrogance but with certainty, an unshakable confidence that came from knowing her skills were real, and that failure was not part of her vocabulary. He motioned for her to follow him into the repair bay, a cavernous space filled with the hum of machinery and the smell of ozone. Scattered across the floor and work tables were fragments of damaged armor, scorched plating, twisted servo motors, shattered visors. The remnants of countless failed repairs lay in a chaotic display, each one a silent reminder of the Skarath's overwhelming power. Lyra's eyes moved quickly across the room, taking in each detail without hesitation. She crouched beside a piece of armor, running her fingers along a jagged tear in the metal. She murmured. They tried to fix it with precision machines, but they missed the weaknesses in the core structure. Rawl raised an eyebrow. "Machines don't fail, Lyra. They follow their instructions." She looked up at him slowly, her gaze calm but piercing. "Machines follow rules. Humans see patterns. Humans feel things. That makes all the difference." There was a pause, a moment when the room seemed quieter, as if even the damaged armor held its breath. Rawl realized he had never met a mechanic like this. She did not merely repair machines. She seemed to understand them as if they had minds of their own. Lyra rolled up her sleeves and began work. Unlike other mechanics, she did not start with the schematics. She examined the armor piece by piece, tapping lightly, listening to the subtle vibrations, testing the balance of weight, and inspecting the circuits with practiced intuition. Her hands moved fast but deliberate, each adjustment precise. Sparks occasionally flew and the faint hum of machinery shifted as if responding to her touch. Rawl watched from the doorway, unable to look away. Soldiers and engineers from his fleet had tried every standard procedure, every formula and calculation, yet nothing had worked. And now, in the quiet of this dusty repair bay, a single human being was making the impossible happen. Hours passed. The sun sank behind jagged rock spires outside, casting long shadows into the bay. Lyra did not stop. She worked with a focus that seemed almost unnatural, ignoring hunger, fatigue, and the aching muscles that often came from long hours of labor. She combined alloys that should have been incompatible, rewired circuits in ways no engineer would dare, and reinforced the armor with methods that defied logic but held undeniable results. Finally, she stepped back, wiping her hands on a cloth. The armor before her seemed alive. Its plating gleamed as if polished by some unseen force. Circuits hummed with steady energy, and the visor's display flickered to life, brighter and more responsive than before. Rawl could hardly believe it. She looked at him slowly, meeting his eyes with a calm intensity. "Only a human could repair this armor," she said, repeating the words from the message. "Machines follow rules. Aliens follow orders. Humans, we adapt. We fix what no one else can." Rawl nodded, swallowing a lump of awe and disbelief. "You've done it," he said quietly. "It's perfect." Lyra gave a small smile, but it was not pride that shone in her eyes. It was something deeper, a recognition of the weight of what she had accomplished. "It's not perfect," she said. "It's better. It's ready for what's coming. Rawl's stomach tightened. He had been on countless battlefields, faced enemies of unimaginable strength, and seen countless lives lost. And yet here, in a remote repair bay on a dead planet, a young human mechanic had reminded him of something he had almost forgotten. Humans were unpredictable, creative, unstoppable when they chose to be. The next day, the fleet would test the armor in live combat against the Skurath. And Rawl knew one thing for certain. With Lyra's modifications, his soldiers had a chance they had never had before. But even as he thought this, Rawl could not ignore the weight of responsibility. Lyra was more than a mechanic. She was a symbol of human potential, and if the Skurath discovered the true secret of human ingenuity, the war could change in ways no one had yet imagined. Lyra stood quietly, watching the soldiers train in the newly repaired armor. She adjusted the fit for each one, whispered small instructions here and there, and observed their movements like a teacher guiding her students. Her calm gaze never wavered, even as blaster fire and simulated explosions filled the training yard. Finally, she turned back to Rawl. "You'll see," she said softly. "Humans always find a way, even when everything says we shouldn't, even when the odds are impossible." Rawl met her gaze and felt a spark of hope he had not felt in years. Here, in the hands of a single human, lay the key to survival, not just of his fleet, but perhaps of all humanity in the galaxy. And he realized, with a mixture of admiration and unease, that Lyra's slow, deliberate look carried more than skill. It carried a warning, a promise, and a challenge all at once. As night fell over Carrion 5, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. Somewhere deep in the void, the Skurath continued their approach, unaware of the quiet force that awaited them. And in the repair bay, Lyra continued her work, human hands shaping destiny, one careful, deliberate motion at a time. Rawl knew without a doubt that humanity had found its champion, and that this quiet, determined mechanic would be remembered long after the stars themselves had faded. And in that moment, he understood what the message had truly meant. Only the human mechanic repaired this armor. It was not just about skill. It was about heart, courage, ingenuity, humanity itself. The morning light of Carrion 5 crept through the wide windows of the repair bay, casting pale streaks across the steel floor. Outside, the barren landscape glimmered under the weak sun, jagged rocks and dry dust stretching to the horizon. Inside, however, the atmosphere was tense but electric. Commander Rawl stood at the observation deck, his arms crossed as he watched the human soldiers suit up in the newly repaired armor. The pieces gleamed under the artificial lights, shining with a subtle energy that had never been there before. It wasn't just polished metal or functional circuits, it felt alive. Rawl felt a strange mixture of awe and nervous anticipation. Lyra moved among the soldiers, making small adjustments, checking joints, tightening servos, and whispering short instructions. Her touch was confident, gentle, and precise. Each soldier she adjusted seemed to move a little more naturally, their reflexes quicker, their stance stronger. Rawl had never seen armor that seemed to bond with its wearer, almost like it understood the human inside it. "Ready for the test," Rawl said, his voice tight with anticipation. Lyra looked at him slowly, her eyes steady and focused. "The armor is ready, but remember, Commander, it's not the armor that wins battles. It's the humans inside it. The armor only helps them show what they can already do." Rawl nodded, swallowing a lump of pride and anxiety. He had relied on advanced alien technology for decades, but never on human ingenuity alone. And yet here it was, proving that human creativity could surpass even the most advanced machines in the galaxy. The training ground had been set up to simulate Skurath attacks. Drones mimicked enemy tactics, firing energy bolts with precision and speed. Explosions of light and sound filled the yard as the soldiers moved through the course. Lyra stepped back, observing quietly. She had spent hours ensuring each armor piece worked perfectly. The circuits she modified could adapt to energy surges. The plating could redistribute force to prevent damage, and the servos she rewired enhanced human speed without strain. It was more than a repair. It was a transformation. The soldiers advanced through the obstacle course. Energy blasts ricocheted off reinforced plates, and the soldiers moved with an agility that surprised even the instructors. When a drone fired a direct hit at a soldier's chest, the armor absorbed it, slightly glowing with the force, then stabilized instantly. Ral's jaw tightened. He had trained with countless species, fought alongside the most skilled warriors in the Alliance, and yet watching human soldiers move like this under fire filled him with a strange pride. The Scarith had never faced anything like it. One soldier faltered as a drone shot ricocheted, threatening to destabilize his armor. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She tapped into the control interface she had integrated, guiding him through an improvised adjustment. Twist the right servo motor, tilt left slightly, and lean forward, she instructed softly. The soldier followed her directions instinctively, and the armor stabilized, continuing to protect him perfectly. The crowd watching from the observation deck murmured in disbelief. No one had expected human soldiers to adapt so quickly, let alone thrive under the assault. Ral exhaled slowly, a sense of relief washing over him. This was more than he had hoped for. But his mind already raced ahead. The test had been controlled, safe, and predictable. The real battle would not be so forgiving. After the drills, Lyra moved to each soldier individually. She adjusted their armor, checked their posture, and whispered small suggestions for efficiency. She noticed one young soldier, barely out of training, struggling to keep his balance. Her brow furrowed slightly and she crouched down beside him. "Your center of gravity is off," she said softly. "Shift your weight back slightly, relax your shoulders, and your reflexes will respond faster." The soldier did as instructed, and immediately his movements became more fluid, almost instinctive. Lyra smiled faintly, then moved on. Ral approached her, curiosity mixed with respect. "How do you know exactly what to do?" he asked. Lyra shrugged lightly, wiping grease from her hands. "I don't follow instructions. I observe, I feel, I imagine how it should move. Machines and armor have patterns. If you can read them, you can improve them. That's all." Her gaze met his slowly, calm but piercing. "Humans are unpredictable, Commander. That's our strength. We adapt when no one else can. That's why the armor works now when nothing else did." Ral nodded, understanding dawning on him. The Scarith relied on precision, logic, and brute force. They had never encountered humans who could adapt on the fly, solve problems instinctively, and push technology beyond its limits. Lyra embodied that human spark, and now it had been infused into every soldier under her care. The drills continued, escalating in difficulty. Drones fired faster, obstacles moved unpredictably, and explosions created chaos. Every soldier in Lyra's repaired armor adapted effortlessly. When one fell, the armor helped them regain balance. When another was hit, the system redistributed force instantly. Every action became a fluid dance, a demonstration of human ingenuity amplified by technology. Observers from allied species whispered among themselves. Engineers and commanders from multiple planets had doubted the humans' ability to hold their own. Now they watched with wide eyes as humans moved with a combination of skill, speed, and intuition that no computer or alien technology could match. Lyra stood at the edge of the training yard, watching quietly. She did not cheer or clap. She simply observed, her expression calm. Each successful maneuver reinforced her belief that humans could do what no one else could, not because of superior technology, but because of creativity, adaptability, and courage. Finally, Ral called an end to the drills. The soldiers stood in formation, breathing hard but triumphant. Their armor gleamed, intact and functional, every plate and circuit perfect. Even the most skeptical observers could not hide their astonishment. Ral approached Lyra, his voice filled with admiration. "You've done more than repair armor," he said. "You've changed how we fight. You've changed what it means to be human in this war." Lyra looked at him slowly, her gaze calm but intense. "Humans don't just repair things, Commander," she said. "We improve them. We take what's broken and make it stronger. That's how we survive. That's how we win." Her words hung in the air like a promise, quiet but powerful. Ral felt a surge of hope he hadn't felt in years. With Lyra's skills, his soldiers had a chance. A real chance. As the sun set behind Carrion 5's jagged cliffs, the training yard emptied, leaving the soldiers to rest and recover. Lyra returned to the repair bay, already preparing the next set of modifications. Even after hours of intense work, her energy remained steady. She cleaned her tools, adjusted circuits, and examined armor components with meticulous care. Ral watched her from the doorway, a deep respect settling in his chest. Humans were unpredictable, inventive, and resilient. Lyra was the perfect example of that spirit. And as he left the bay, he felt certain that this human ingenuity would be the key to facing the Skarath and to proving that humanity was more than just another participant in the galactic war. The stars above Carrion 5 twinkled cold and distant, but inside the repair bay, a quiet warmth of human determination burned bright. And Commander Rawl knew that, with humans like Lyra, no enemy could predict what they would do next. The skies above Carrion 5 were a deep shade of violet, tinged with streaks of orange from the planet's twin suns. The barren landscape below seemed calm, but the calm was an illusion. From orbit, the Skarath fleet moved like a storm. Massive warships bristling with weapons, their engines glowing a harsh, unnatural light. Commander Rawl stood on the command bridge of the human fleet, staring at the approaching alien armada. Every sensor blip was a reminder of the overwhelming odds they faced. Yet beneath the tension, a quiet confidence stirred in him. The soldiers under Lyra's care were equipped with armor no Skarath could have anticipated, and at the heart of it all was the human mechanic herself, calm, focused, and ready. Lyra walked along the bridge, her tools still tucked into her belt. She did not command or issue orders. Instead, she observed, her eyes scanning data streams, monitoring each soldier, each piece of armor. When a warning flashed, a minor energy surge in one of the suits, she tapped into the system and made an instantaneous adjustment. Rawl approached her, his voice low. "Do you think it will hold?" Lyra looked at him slowly, her gaze steady and unwavering. "It will hold because humans are inside it. The armor helps, but it's the people who make the difference." The Skarath ships opened fire, energy beams slicing through the void like molten ribbons. The human fleet responded, dodging and weaving, returning fire with precise coordination. Lyra's armor enhancements proved their worth immediately. Soldiers moved faster, reacted instantly to attacks, and deflected energy blasts that had previously pierced the strongest defenses. Rawl's heart pounded as he watched the first wave of human soldiers engage the enemy. One of them, Lieutenant Aaron, charged ahead, dodging 3 Skarath blasts in quick succession. The armor absorbed part of the energy, while redistributing the rest to reinforce his movements. Aaron's fists struck true, damaging a drone that had been impossible to destroy before. Lyra's eyes followed each motion, her fingers tapping commands on the interface only she could operate. When another soldier's armor began to destabilize, she intervened remotely, adjusting power flow and guiding him with precise instructions. The soldier recovered instantly, moving back into formation as if nothing had happened. Rawl couldn't help but admire her. No alien or machine could match the adaptability humans displayed in this moment. Every movement, every decision was a combination of instinct, creativity, and courage, the true essence of humanity. The Skarath commander noticed the difference immediately. "These humans," it growled, its voice transmitted through the fleet comm system. "They move unpredictably, they are unlike any other species." But Lyra paid no attention to the alien chatter. She focused on her soldiers, anticipating their needs before they even realized them. When a drone fired a concentrated energy blast, she guided Sergeant Elan to angle his shield at the perfect trajectory. The energy deflected harmlessly, and the soldier countered with a strike that sent the drone spiraling into space debris. The battle escalated. Skarath ships fired in patterns that had overwhelmed fleets before. But human soldiers adapted instantly, using the terrain and their armor's capabilities to maximum effect. Rawl realized that this was more than a test of technology. It was a test of human spirit. In one particularly tense moment, a Skarath destroyer targeted a small squad of soldiers pinned behind rocky cliffs. The squad seemed trapped, and even Rawl feared for their lives. Lyra's gaze sharpened. She calculated trajectories, power flows, and angles faster than anyone could see. Then she directed the soldiers to move in a sequence so precise it seemed impossible. Each step neutralized incoming fire, every motion coordinated to perfection. The squad escaped unharmed, their armor and instincts working together as one. Rawl felt a surge of pride. "This is human ingenuity at its finest," he murmured, almost to himself. Lyra only nodded slightly, her eyes still on the battlefield. She knew the test was far from over. The Skarath were relentless, and their numbers far exceeded human forces. But that did not matter. The human's ability to adapt, to think creatively under pressure, was a weapon no alien technology could predict. Suddenly, a massive Skarath warship broke through the outer perimeter, Its energy cannon glowed ominously, capable of destroying multiple soldiers in one blast. The fleet scrambled, but Lyra's modifications gave the soldiers a new advantage. The armor systems began to predict incoming attacks milliseconds faster than the Scareth expected. Reflexes enhanced by her engineering allowed soldiers to dodge with uncanny precision. Rahl watched as Lyra moved closer to the console, her fingers flying over the controls. She directed an untested maneuver, coordinating her soldiers into an unexpected formation. The Scareth fired, and the energy beams passed harmlessly between the soldiers, who struck back with coordinated attacks that damaged the warship's hull. The aliens roared in frustration. "Impossible," one of their commanders shouted. "These humans. They are not predictable." Lyra's slow, steady gaze met Rahl's. There was no arrogance, only certainty. "Humans survive because we adapt," she said softly. "We don't just react. We create solutions when nothing exists. That's why we win." Rahl felt a deep respect for her. The humans' success in the battle was not due to the armor alone, nor to strategy. It was the combination of instinct, courage, and ingenuity, the essence of what it meant to be human. As the battle continued, Lyra herself took action. Seeing a group of soldiers struggling against a heavily armed drone swarm, she activated a manual override she had built into the armor systems. The soldiers' movements became synchronized almost magically, each one anticipating the other's actions. The drones were overwhelmed, destroyed one by one as the soldiers advanced with precision and confidence. The tide of the battle shifted. What had begun as a desperate struggle against overwhelming alien forces now turned in humanity's favor. Soldiers moved with unshakable determination, their armor adapting instantly to threats guided by both technology and intuition. Rahl watched, amazed. He had fought countless battles, seen fleets crushed, and witnessed species with superior technology fall. Yet here, against impossible odds, humans were not only surviving, they were triumphing. Hours passed, and the Scareth forces began to retreat. The human soldiers, exhausted but victorious, regrouped under Lyra's watchful eye. Their armor bore the marks of battle, but every piece had performed flawlessly. Every soldier had survived, thanks to Lyra's ingenuity and their own skill. Rahl approached Lyra as the fleet celebrated its success. "You've done more than repair armor," he said, his voice filled with awe. "You've shown what humans are capable of." Lyra looked at him slowly, calm and measured. "I didn't do this alone," she said. "Humans adapt, we improvise, we survive. The armor only amplifies what's already inside each soldier. The real power is in us." Rahl nodded, understanding fully now. The battle had proven more than technology. It had proven humanity. The creativity, courage, and adaptability of humans could overcome even the most powerful adversaries. As the sun set behind the jagged cliffs of Carrion 5, the stars above twinkled cold and distant. But inside the human fleet, a quiet warmth of pride and determination burned brightly. Lyra returned to her tools, already planning enhancements, modifications, and improvements for the next challenge. Commander Rahl knew without a doubt that the galaxy had underestimated humans. They had seen only technology, weapons, and armor. They had not seen human ingenuity, human courage, and human adaptability in full display, and after today no one would ever forget it. Lyra's slow, deliberate gaze met his once more, calm but full of meaning. "The battle is won," she said softly, "but the war is not. Humans will always find a way. That's what makes us strong." Rahl smiled, feeling a deep sense of hope. The humans had faced the impossible and triumphed. With ingenuity, courage, and determination, there was nothing they could not overcome. And Lyra, quiet, steady, brilliant Lyra, was proof of that enduring truth. The victory over the first wave of Scareth had given the humans hope, but the celebrations were short-lived. From the edge of Carrion 5's orbit, new alien warships appeared, far larger and more powerful than the first fleet. Their hulls glinted with energy-absorbing alloys, and massive cannons bristled along their sides. The Scareth had adapted, and they would not be so easily defeated again. Commander Rahl stood on the bridge, staring at the approaching armada. The fleet's sensors picked up multiple energy signatures, far surpassing their last encounter. His stomach tightened with the weight of the looming battle. Yet beneath his concern there was a glimmer of confidence. Lyra's armor enhancements had proven their worth, and if humans could adapt, perhaps they could do the impossible again. Lyra walked among the soldiers, calm and focused. She did not speak much, but her presence alone inspired confidence. Every eye in the fleet seemed to follow her, knowing that her ingenuity had given them their first taste of victory. "Commander," she said quietly, approaching Rawl, "this battle will be harder. The Skarath have learned from their mistakes, but humans, we adapt faster. That's our advantage," Rawl nodded. "I know. But we need a plan." Lyra tilted her head slightly, thinking. "The plan is simple. Adapt, improvise, survive. Every soldier trusts the armor. Every armor trusts the humans inside. That is all we need. I will make adjustments and you lead the fleet. The rest depends on human instinct." Rawl felt a surge of admiration for her. The human strength was not in numbers or technology. It was in their ability to think, create, and react when nothing else could. And Lyra embodied that strength. As the Skarath approached, the fleet took defensive positions. Energy beams lit the sky as both sides opened fire, the clash shaking the thin atmosphere of Carrion 5. The Skarath unleashed volleys designed to overwhelm any conventional fleet. But humans moved differently. Lyra had prepared enhancements for these exact moments. The soldiers' armor now contained adaptive shielding, capable of predicting attack patterns milliseconds in advance. Their movements, guided by both technology and intuition, allowed them to dodge attacks that would have been fatal. In one corner of the battlefield, a squad of human soldiers faced a Skarath dreadnought, its massive energy cannons firing with relentless precision. Normally, such a ship would have destroyed them instantly, but Lyra's enhancements allowed the soldiers to anticipate the blasts, move in precise patterns, and counterattack effectively. Rawl watched, heart pounding. The soldiers moved as if connected by an invisible thread, their armor responding instantly to every threat. They were a living demonstration of human ingenuity, the combination of instinct, courage, and creative thinking amplified by technology. Lyra's attention shifted to a critical problem. A group of Skarath boarding craft were heading straight for the repair bays and supply lines. If they succeeded, it could cripple the fleet before the battle even began. Without hesitation, Lyra activated a specialized override she had installed in the armor systems. "Use your environment," she instructed, her voice calm through the comm systems. "Work together. Every step counts. Adapt faster than they do." Soldiers moved with a precision that seemed impossible. One soldier used debris to create temporary cover. Another lured the boarding craft into a trap, while a third used an improvised energy pulse to disable the ship's systems. Every action was a testament to human adaptability, a coordinated dance that no alien intelligence could predict. Commander Rawl felt a surge of pride. This was more than armor or weapons. It was humans at their absolute best. They were thinking, reacting, and creating solutions under extreme pressure, and Lyra's quiet, deliberate guidance was the invisible force making it all possible. But the Skarath were not defeated yet. From the depths of their armada, a massive warship emerged, bristling with experimental weapons. Its energy fields pulsed with a strange rhythm, designed to disrupt conventional armor systems. Even Lyra's enhancements would be tested like never before. Lyra crouched beside her interface, her fingers moving quickly across controls she had built herself. She analyzed the energy waves, recalibrated circuits, and made split-second adjustments to the soldier's armor. Each modification was risky, untested, but she trusted human instinct to fill the gaps. Rawl watched, a mixture of awe and tension gripping him. The human soldiers moved with renewed confidence, anticipating the alien attacks and responding with precise countermeasures. The untested modifications worked, stabilizing armor under conditions that should have been catastrophic. In one moment of chaos, a soldier was nearly struck by a concentrated blast from the experimental ship. Lyra's quick adjustments allowed the armor to absorb and redistribute the energy just in time, giving the soldier the chance to strike back and destroy a critical component of the alien ship. The battle continued, fierce and unrelenting. The Skarath pushed harder, adapting to the humans' tactics, but humans adapted faster. Lyra guided them silently, her calm focus enabling soldiers to make decisions instinctively. She did not command. She inspired, allowing human ingenuity to shine through in every maneuver. At one point, Rawl's ship was surrounded by enemy fighters, The soldiers inside Lyra's armor coordinated a counterattack, using their speed and agility to disable multiple ships simultaneously. It was a dance of strategy and instinct, an example of human adaptability at its finest. Lyra's gaze met Rawls slowly. There was no fear, no hesitation, only certainty. "Humans survive," she said softly. "We adapt. We improvise. That's why we always find a way." Rawl nodded, understanding fully. The human's advantage was never in brute force or sheer technology. It was in creativity, courage, and the ability to solve problems no one else could even imagine. Lyra had unlocked that potential in every soldier, and now the Scareth were learning the hard way that humans were unpredictable. As the battle drew to its climax, the human fleet pressed forward. Every ship, every soldier, every piece of armor worked together in a symphony of ingenuity. Even the Scareth dreadnoughts could not withstand the combined force of strategy, instinct, and adaptation. Finally, the massive alien warship fired one last, desperate volley. Lyra's quick thinking and adjustments ensured that every soldier's armor absorbed, deflected, and countered the energy. The humans closed in, disabling the alien ship and forcing the remaining Scareth to retreat. Silence fell across Carrion 5 as the last Scareth ships fled into the void. The human soldiers, exhausted but triumphant, gathered together. Their armor bore the scars of battle, yet every piece had performed flawlessly. Lyra walked among them, her calm gaze meeting each one, her presence a quiet reminder of human ingenuity and resilience. Commander Rawl approached her, awe and gratitude written on his face. "You've done more than repair armor," he said. "You've changed what it means to fight." Lyra looked at him slowly, her eyes calm and certain. "I didn't do this alone," she said. "Humans adapt, we improvise, we survive. The armor only amplifies what's already inside us. That's the real strength." Rawl nodded, understanding completely. The battle had proven it. Not just technology, not just strategy, but the spirit of humanity. Creativity, courage, and adaptability could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. As night fell over Carrion 5, stars glimmering cold and distant above, the human fleet gathered in quiet celebration. Lyra returned to her tools, already preparing for the next challenge. Commander Rawl knew one thing with certainty. The Scareth would return. But with humans like Lyra and soldiers like those who had just survived the impossible, the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. And as he watched her slowly, deliberately look over the fleet, Rawl understood the truth behind the message that had brought them here. Only the human mechanic repaired this armor. It was not just a statement of skill. It was a testament to the power, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit of humanity itself. The stars above Carrion 5 glimmered faintly, distant and cold, as if watching silently over the final stage of a battle that would be remembered for generations. The Scareth were not defeated. They were wounded, yes, but far from finished. Their fleet, though diminished, had regrouped, and their flagship loomed on the edge of the human fleet, massive and menacing, bristling with experimental weapons. Commander Rawl stood on the command bridge, staring at the looming threat. His fleet, exhausted from previous battles, was ready but wary. Every soldier in Lyra's repaired armor had fought brilliantly before, but this would be the ultimate test. Lyra moved among the soldiers, calm and focused, checking each suit of armor one last time. Her hands were steady, her eyes sharp, her mind moving faster than any system aboard the ships. She did not speak much. She only observed, making minor adjustments with precision. Every circuit, every servo, every panel had been enhanced to perfection. "Humans," she said softly, addressing Rawl as much as the soldiers. "This is the moment we show what we are truly capable of. Not because of weapons, not because of armor, but because we adapt. We think, we create, we survive. That is what the Scareth cannot predict." Rawl nodded, inspired by her confidence. "Then let's show them what humans can do," he said, his voice steady. The Scareth flagship opened fire first. Massive energy beams cut through space, striking at human ships with precision and lethal intent. Soldiers moved with agility, their armor reacting to each blast. Shields flared and shifted, redistributing force. Soldiers dodged with instincts honed by Lyra's modifications, each movement precise and fluid. In one corner of the battlefield, Sergeant Elan's squad faced an overwhelming number of drones. Normally, they would have been destroyed instantly, but now, guided by the armor's predictive adjustments and their own intuition, They moved in perfect synchronization. Every attack they made disabled drones efficiently. Every defensive move protected them from harm. Lyra's fingers danced over the interface, making minute adjustments in real time. A blast that would have struck Lieutenant Aaron was diverted milliseconds before impact, while another soldier was guided into a better defensive position, allowing him to counterattack. Rahl could hardly believe what he was witnessing. Human soldiers, ordinary in every way except for their creativity and courage, were holding the line against overwhelming alien firepower. Every move they made was a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of humanity. Suddenly, the Skarath launched boarding craft aimed directly at the human repair stations and supply lines. If they succeeded, the fleet would be crippled instantly. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She activated a specialized override she had designed for this exact scenario. Use the environment, she instructed over the comms. Think ahead. Adapt. Every step counts. Soldiers moved instinctively, using debris, terrain, and energy pulses to create improvised defenses. One soldier created a temporary barricade with a fallen energy generator. Another lured the boarding craft into a trap, and a third used a modified pulse from his armor to disable the craft's energy systems. The Skarath were caught off guard. They had never faced an enemy that could anticipate their moves, improvise solutions in real time, and coordinate attacks without a single command. The humans' unpredictable creativity was a weapon more powerful than any cannon. Meanwhile, the flagship prepared a devastating blast, capable of destroying multiple ships at once. Lyra quickly recalculated trajectories and adjusted the armor systems of every soldier nearby. "Move with me," she whispered, almost to herself. The soldiers, trusting the armor and their instincts, formed a pattern of movement she had improvised in seconds. The blast passed harmlessly through the formation, while counterattacks struck the Skarath with precision and force. Commander Rahl felt a surge of pride. This was human ingenuity at its finest. Technology, courage, and creativity merged into a single unstoppable force. Even the alien fleet could not anticipate the moves of soldiers guided by both instinct and innovation. Lyra did not pause. She directed soldiers to strike the flagship's weak points, improvising attacks as the aliens attempted to adapt. Each strike landed perfectly, damaging critical systems and forcing the flagship into disarray. Explosions lit the void as pieces of the massive alien ship broke apart, drifting silently into space. One particularly brave squad moved directly onto the flagship using armored pods. Lyra guided them remotely, making split-second adjustments to their armor as they advanced. Energy shields flared, blasters fired, and every obstacle was met with quick thinking and instinctive action. The Skarath inside the ship were overwhelmed. Their superior numbers and technology rendered ineffective against human unpredictability. Finally, the flagship exploded in a brilliant flash, lighting the surrounding space. The remaining Skarath ships, seeing their command destroyed and their forces decimated, retreated into the void. Silence fell across the battlefield, broken only by the distant hum of human engines and the occasional crackle of energy fields stabilizing. The human fleet had triumphed. Soldiers cheered, exhausted but victorious. Their armor bore scratches and scorch marks, but it had performed flawlessly, protecting them and enhancing their abilities. Commander Rahl walked among the soldiers, pride swelling in his chest. "You've done it," he said quietly. "You've proven something no one else could. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans win." Lyra returned to him, calm as always, her slow gaze meeting his. "We didn't just survive," she said softly. "We thrived. That is the difference. Humans do not simply react. We create solutions even when none exist. That is why we succeed," Rahl nodded. He had seen countless victories, countless defeats, yet this felt different. The humans had faced impossible odds and not only survived, they had triumphed because of ingenuity, courage, and spirit. As the fleet regrouped, Lyra walked among the soldiers, checking armor, offering advice, and quietly ensuring that every system remained operational. Her work was never done, but her presence alone inspired confidence. Each soldier knew that with her guidance no challenge was too great. From the observation deck, Rahl looked at Lyra slowly. She had proven what he had only begun to understand. Humans were not limited by technology or numbers. Their true strength lay in creativity, adaptability, and courage under pressure. The stars above Carrion 5 sparkled silently, as if witnessing the triumph of a species that refused to be underestimated. The Skarath, powerful and relentless, had encountered something they could not predict, something they could not defeat, the ingenuity of humanity. Lyra's gaze met Rawls one final time, slow and deliberate. "This battle is won," she said softly, "but the war continues. Humans will always find a way. That is who we are." Rawls smiled, a deep, unshakable pride filling him. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and now it would never do so again. And in that moment, he realized that the message that had brought them here, the words he had first heard when Lyra arrived, was more than true. Only the human mechanic repaired this armor. It was not only a statement of skill. It was a testament to the power, courage, and ingenuity of humanity itself. Humans could adapt, create, and overcome. They could face impossible odds and triumph. Lyra returned to her tools, already planning enhancements for the next challenge. Soldiers celebrated quietly, tending to minor injuries and checking their armor. Commander Rawl looked around the fleet, knowing this victory was not just a battle won, but a symbol of what humanity could achieve when ingenuity and courage worked together. As night fully fell over Carrion 5, the stars shone brighter than ever. The humans, battered but unbroken, had faced the impossible and triumphed. And in the quiet of the repair bay, Lyra's slow, deliberate gaze reminded Rawl and the galaxy that human ingenuity was unstoppable. No alien, no machine, no force in the universe could predict, contain, or defeat what humans could achieve when they adapted. When they created and when they refused to give up, humanity had won. And this was only the beginning.